Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to yet another review video. Now, today we are reviewing Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Multiverse's End, or The Multiverse's End, which is a tie-in issue to the Dark Knight's Death Metal crossover event, whose main storyline, well, my light is it's one of those lights that works on, there's a sensor and sometimes, well, it's just modern things. So, that is written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and it's the direct sequel to Dark Knight's Metal, a crossover storyline, bat-oriented, that was published a couple of years ago. Now, what is quite interesting about the Dark Knight's Death Metal tie-ins is that the importance of the individual one-shots differs and is varied issue to issue to issue, by which I mean that some of the issues you can skip and they are just fill-ins, whereas other issues are quite important for the main story, such as is the case with the Multiverse's End, which was written by James Tynion IV, I believe, and by the way, once again, no pictures here. I am reviewing an issue that I read digitally because I don't have the physical copy. I'm from the Czech Republic. I don't have any access to comic book stores that would be getting comic book issues each week. But you can Google the issues or the pictures for yourselves. Now, in this particular tie-in, the Dark Knight's Death Metal Multiverse's End, we follow multiple characters that are virtually basically trying to destroy the antennae that Perpetua, the goddess, that she's using for gather the life force energy of the inhabitants of Earth Zero, really, to give her more power so she can reshape the multiverse into her own image. And this particular issue's main protagonists are Jon Stewart, the Green Lantern, and Owlman, who is, a member of the crime syndicate, basically the original dark image of Batman from an alternative reality before the dark Batman from the Dark Multiverse game. And he captured Jon Stewart at the beginning, and now spoilers will come. He says to him that he actually does not really agree with Perpetua, and it seems that he's working for her, but in reality he has booby-trapped all the antennae, because he does not like the idea of not being the original Dark Batman, and that he feels, because he is the best strategist on his world, that if Perpetua wins, everybody else will lose, even the crime syndicate and the Owlman. So he says to Jon Stewart to really persuade him to help the good guys defeat Perpetua. And Jon Stewart tells him a story of how Perpetua got her power, and what it is all about, really, the event, the Dark Knight Death Metal. So in this issue we get to know really the history of the entire DC multiverse and its most important crises. So we could really consider this particular issue to be a history book, a history issue to a lot of the DC Comics' crises, like the Crisis of Infinite Earths, Final Crisis, and Dark Knight's Metal. Now, this being said, you really do need to know this stuff. You need to know you need to have a vast knowledge of the DC Comics history, and you will have to have read all the Crisis books in order to understand this issue fully. So that's only a half of one issue. We get to know how Perpetua came to be, and how she was imprisoned in the Source Wall, and what the multiverse and ultimately a bigger omniverse, which is even bigger than multiverse, is, and how she ultimately escaped the source wall, and why all those crises happened. Of course, it happened each and every time when the editors and the owners of DC Comics felt that they need to somehow fix their continuity. But the writers, Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV, they wanted to come up with something within the DC multiverse itself. So, and they did, and it's quite good. It's quite clever. I liked it very much. I'm not going to spoil it. You will have to read the issue for yourself. But I quite like it. It was an interesting and original idea. You will of course have to pay attention to it because it's some people might consider it quite complicated, but I don't. I know the history of DC, and quite well, and I like complicated stories and these metaphysical cosmic stories, mainly written by people like Grant Morrison and Scott Snyder. So this is only a half of the issue. The other half is devoted to characters like Guy Gardner and the other Green Lanterns, who are working with heroes from other, universes, other Earths, such as Captain Carrot, a gigantic anthropomorphic rabbit. Yes, indeed. So not only this issue contains very serious historical stuff as far as the DC multiverse goes, but also quite a lot of humor, both intelligent and slapstick, which I do enjoy. I mean, it's fun. It's the core of what comic books should be like. They should be fun. They should be a source of escapism for the reader. And ideally, there should be some action and interesting characters, good-looking characters, and this comic book contains it all. It even contains things like the what was it called, the Rainbow Batman Call, composed of Batman wearing different power rings, which was strange, and it contains a Batman baby, like a Bat Baby, a Batman from a alternate reality who cloned himself into a body of a baby, but has a brain of a grown-up Bruce Wayne. It was weird. I didn't really like that character, but otherwise it was fun. So, of all the tie-in issues, not taking into consideration the main storyline, of all the tie-in issues, I would say that I enjoyed this one the most. And it didn't really contain Batman, like the main universe Batman, but come to think of it, the speed metal didn't contain Bruce Wayne either, and it was okay. I mean, it was meh, but it just might have been the fact that I don't really like. I mean, I don't care about Flash that much, but this one was great. It was actually very good. Once again, both a serious historical issue and issue filled with quite good jokes and humor. So, not really going to spoil the story, we'll have to read it for yourself, but if you have been following Dark Knight's death metal, and if you have some knowledge about, DC Universe and all its crises, I think you will thoroughly enjoy this one, and I do recommend you getting it, and I can't wait for DC Comics publishing, firstly finishing the Dark Knight's death metal story, and then publishing it in a collected edition so I can get it for myself and reread it all at once and add it to my collection. So that's it. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed Dark Knight's death metal Multiverse'S and it's definitely a recommend. So tell me, what do you think, my friends? Have you read this particular issue, and what are your opinions about that? Let me know in the comments down below. And that will be all from me. See you soon, and bye.